Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
So how much was Bond? No, I'm just kidding. He was taking care of his brother yesterday. It's been the running joke all week. Well, what time's your court appearance? How much was Bond? No. He's taking care of his brother. God, pointing out something good about it.
They say 10.
Pointing out something good about it is so difficult.
It is tough. They say 10%. Sometimes 10% is not easy to post.
Well,
I'll tell you.
I mean, you needed the money to get your hair cut. Still a mess. You didn't get it cut, did you?
No, I didn't get it cut yet.
Why
not yet.
not?
I'm waiting until after the Super Bowl. Just make sure.
Are you waiting? Oh, it's a luck thing?
Any kind of luck. Any kind
How
of
long
thing
have you been growing this?
Nah, it's usually like 5-6 months. Usually
5 or 6 months?
About that. Usually every 6 months or so, I cut the hair. No rhyme or reason to it. Just it's getting long, cut it.
This isn't the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No, I'd have a playoff beard going a lot further.
Oh, just so low. All right, so let's get to basketball first. We'll start with the men's game. We'll get to Caitlin Clark in a moment. It's the third straight win for Penn State, and all of them are by double digits. Winning at Rutgers by 15, winning at Indiana by 14, and winning at home last night over Iowa by 10. A strange game last night where you had lulls, but again, this has always been the part I've had a tough time in 42 years of doing this, of conveying to people how basketball works. Everybody thinks that they're like with their team, they should be scoring in every possession and stopping every possession, and the final score should be 120-0. No. Okay, you watch any game out there, any game, and like really watch it. You'll see everybody has high moments and they have lulls. Everybody. They'll come down the floor like, wow, that's 5 straight shots they've missed, right? Happens in every game. Well, Penn State had its lull in the first half, fell behind 17-10, then closed out the first half brilliantly. Right? Brilliantly. Took an 8-point lead to the locker room. But then, the start of the second half, they were sluggish. And it eerily felt like Northwestern and Minnesota, where they had the lead at the half, and then were so sluggish they lost the lead. Now they're down 63-56 with 8:38 to play. And then they turned it on. The best lineup for Penn State has been the starting lineup. That's Dunn, Baldwin, Ace was great last night. Wahab, he was terrific. Hicks played well again, and Nick Kern. That's been the best lineup. There's no getting around it. And they hit threes again. They hit a dozen of them. Zach Hicks was 3 of 6 in threes. Jameel Brown was 3 of 8. Ace was 3 of 4. I mean, people don't realize Ace is 16 of his last 26 in threes. He has not taken a boatload of them. When he's taken them, it's been the right moment, right time, and it was his 3 that put them in front to stay down the stretch. Ace was also 9 for 9 at the free throw line. He was 5 for 5 in the final 4 minutes of the game. And Zach Hicks hit a couple as well. Penn State only missed 1 free throw in the final 4 minutes of the game. And they did enough defensively to at least force some empty possessions, because Iowa was 11 of its first 15 to start the second half, which, by the way, is the exact number that Northwestern hit to start the second half, 11 of 15. But then Penn State was able to get some stops in there. Their full court pressure, I think, finally unnerved Iowa a bit. It got to the point where they were getting the ball over to Owen Freeman, the freshman, and having the 6'10 freshman dribble into the front court. And he's a player I like. His problem is foul trouble. Yeah. And that's been his problem against, look, there's so many skilled big guys in this league. and he's just a kid, but I think he's a good-looking player. And I thought Perkins played really well in the game. There's a lot of parts about Iowa I like offensively. Defensively, you can get them spinning on a swivel, and you could see that in last night's game. They play with a lot of confidence down the stretch. And now they've got themselves back to 6-6. Okay, they're 12-11 overall, but now they're 6-6 in the league. And in a league that is jumbled, they put themselves into a position where Indiana's also 6-6, Michigan State's also 6-6, and then there's Penn State. So they're right there in that grouping in the conference. And the conference is so jumbled right now. Purdue right now is the team that is setting the pace in the conference. Everybody knows that. But they're sitting here at 10-2. Illinois is 8-3. Wisconsin's 8-4. They're third. Northwestern 7-5. And then, let's see, Northwestern 7-5. Minnesota is 6-5. So they're fifth. And then tied for sixth, Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, all at 6-6. Penn State actually would be the 7 seed if it were, but they still have to play both Michigan State and Indiana. But they would technically be the 7 seed because they beat Indiana. And they lost to Michigan State, so they would be the 7 right now. But that's where they are, in a jumbled league. They've got Northwestern coming up on Sunday. Northwestern has lost only one home game all season. And guess who it was to? Chicago State. Northwestern is 6-1 in games decided by 5 points or less. Who's the only loss? Chicago State. I'm not kidding you. That's their only home loss, and they're only lost by 5 points or less. Yikes. They play really well at home. They just took out Nebraska 80-68, and Boo's having a great year. Not a good year. He's having a great year. Barnheiser's good. Nicholson's okay in the middle. Ty Berry is streaky, but good streaks, man, does he really get it done. Tough streaks opens the door for you to beat them. Martinelli off the bench, good player. And Ryan Langborg is the transfer, I think, that's helped them out. They're not a deep team, but they're a good team. And they play really well as a team. Chris Collins has done a great job with them. That's at 1 o'clock on Sunday. But Penn State forced 18 turnovers in the game. Remember, Iowa came into the game averaging 9.8 per game. Penn State forced 18. 11 more steals. Ace had 4 more of them in the game. I mean, the one area where Ace will be disgusted in himself when he sees it, he had 5 turnovers, and like 3 of them were just bad. Just no offense to him. It was bad play by him.
Good play, yeah.
Right? On a night where he did almost everything else right. And I thought Mike did a great job of massaging the minutes out of his bench, which included Kanye Clary. Clary had some good moments and he had some tough moments, and Mike had the right lineup in the game when he needed it, which is the starting lineup, which has been their best lineup. It's been their best lineup now for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so now 6-6. They fought back to even. They protected their home court last night. Picked up a nice win. Now you go to the next one, and that's Northwestern Sunday at 1, and we're on at 12:30. Caitlin Clark showed her brilliance against the Lady Lions last night in her passing. She had 15 assists. Yeah. You talk about the maturity of a player. Caitlin Clark was always a terrific offensive player who could see the entire floor. Early in her career, though, she turned the ball over too often. Early in her career, she played, she's quick. Well, sometimes the ball and Caitlin would not go at the same speed, which is a prerequisite. You got to go at the same speed, right? And she kept telling Lisa Bluter, look, I'll take care of it. And boy, is she taking care of it. She threw some beautiful dimes last night. I mean, just great passes. And I'm talking like, not just like dump it off over here, great pass. I'm talking one hand, flick the wrist, and that ball flies into the post from about 25 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, just a brilliant passer. She had 15 assists, which I don't know what she scored, 27?
27, yeah.
27 last night, and because the center had 47.
Still had 47, yeah.
Yeah, last night, which is one off Gustafson's all-time Iowa record. But it was her passing that just, I mean, leading into baskets, leading them to the basket. All right, where the person receiving it, the key was to catch and then put the ball up. It wasn't to catch and then figure out a spot to go. The passing by Caitlin Clark was brilliant last night. And, and as usual, she shot the ball well, especially in the first quarter. She had 21 points at halftime, I believe.
Yep.
But in the second half, she was content to pass and make people around her better. She played great. And they play Sunday, I believe. The Lady Lions will play Wisconsin Sunday. So that's an important game for the Lady Lions to bounce back.
Absolutely.
It's been tough, because Tay's been out, and, so now they've got to pick up a win at Wisconsin would be big. Splitting the road trip would be huge. They've stayed out there. They did not come back. I mean, nor should they.
No.
I mean, what do you want to come back for Friday, go to a class, and go back out Saturday?
Same, almost within the same location, nearly. Yeah,
it's a waste. So they're staying out there, and doing that. And I felt like the Lady Lions, would they score 93 last night?
Yeah, I think around there. I think it was 111-93, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, I felt offensively they didn't play great.
No, I definitely, especially that second quarter didn't play great, and I felt like the close of the third quarter didn't play great.
It just felt like they were just a little off. I mean, it doesn't make sense to say that when a team scores 93.
Yeah,
but like there were some shots that were good shots in the offense.
Yep.
Right, open shots in the offense they didn't knock down. And let's face it, when I was going down and scoring almost every single time, it does put a lot of pressure on your offense to score every single time down the floor.
Yeah. I think it shows, too, from on the flip side of the opponent there, it shows that Iowa's going to need those role players. I think that's what it clearly shows. As good as Clark is...
They're not a one-person team.
No, they're not a one-person team, but I think, to me, obviously they had a big loss inside last year. Stokey comes in and plays real well now this year, so you replace that, but then you have guys like, girls like Martin, who's a good player too. Mm-hmm. They're going to need them to step up, absolutely.
Look, and the whole thing's going to be how they play in March.
Mm-hmm.
Last year they got to the championship game. Creighton knocked them out early a couple of years ago.
Second
round, so we will see. The key is to get, in my opinion, the Lady Lions into the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get them in.
Right now, I think probably about 7th seed. I think same spot. I don't think last night is going to...
But that's why I want to see them bounce back at Wisconsin. Get a win on the road like that. Kind of feel like you're steadying the ship at that point. Because to me, it's not the loss to Iowa that's like, it was the loss at home to Michigan. We're like,
I was going to say, 2 straight now. Yeah, that Saturday night loss to Michigan last week.
Yeah. All right. So then wrestling tonight, Iowa's coming off a performance at Michigan.
Yeah.
That it's one thing for them to go on the road and lose like that to Penn State. It's another thing to go to Michigan and lose like that. Like, holy cow. Really? I mean, that had to be, I know they have injuries. Yep. Iowa does have injuries. But goodness gracious, that was a beatdown. That was almost in a stunning way. maybe one thing if they lost the dual meet 20-18, what came down to a couple points here or there, or
they were down 20-3 in that duel,
right? But they got backhanded.
Yeah.
They got backhanded, and that was not a good performance. Now they'll sell it out tonight.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they'll sell it out tonight, but okay.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. It'll be a good night for wrestling as a whole, for Big Ten wrestling. 7 o'clock, you're going to have Michigan, Nebraska, and then right after that, Penn State, Iowa. So absolutely a huge night for dual meets, and it's could be a big night for Penn State.
Again, it's an interesting mix on this team. For every Greg Kurtfleet, Bo Bartlett, Aaron Brooks, Carter Starachi, there's somebody else that's young, cutting their teeth, doing well in spite of all that. They really have done a great job with this team, Cale and his staff, because you feel like there's never a given, but geez, you feel like when Aaron Brooks goes out there, you're in good shape. You feel like when Carter Starachi goes out there, you're in really good shape.
Yeah, very good shape.
When Greg Kurtfleet goes out there, you feel like you're in really good shape. And for the most part, when Bo Bartlett goes out there, you feel like you're in really good shape. Bo's going to give you a great effort every time. And he'll have a big one tonight. Really big one tonight.
Yeah.
But it is the young guys that have gone out, and they've been exciting to watch. Now, you would like to see Bernie Truax bounce back tonight because he is really talented. And that was, I think, to the Penn State fans, that was the one the other night that against Ohio State that was the shock to the system. Like, what? I mean, that was... So that's tonight. I know I'll be locked in on that this evening for all 2 hours of it. And it was interesting to read the comments of Tom Brands where he said, I think essentially that Cale Sanderson was something a worthy opponent or something like that. It was, I mean, it was one of those like, well, no, I kind of felt like, I
didn't even see that.
Yeah, what the heck was the quote? Let's see. I got to look this up. Tom Brands on.
Does not surprise me.
Cale Sanderson. This comes out, of course, is Cale Sanderson. Oh, for God's sakes, just do. Doesn't come up very well. And Cale's going after his 200th win tonight.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Where the heck is it? Called him, I think it was like a worthy opponent. I don't think he called him an adversary. But it was one of those like, really? How to watch.
I remember him saying we've got to pick it up. I remember that part.
No, that's not. But he was asked about Cale. All right. And I mean, typical Cale, 200 wins. Actually, it sounds like the answer. Now, what would the answer be every time you hear somebody ask me about, like, how many games I've announced? And I always say the same thing, right? It just means I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. It's like, like, okay. Here. Quote, he is a worthy opponent. I've said that a lot. He's the best in the last decade or longer. He's been the standard, and we've got to pick it up.
At least he saved himself with the second part of it.
Right. Right. I mean, the second part, you're like, oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
It's about time. And I mean, look, I understand there's a pride thing out there.
Oh, absolutely. But you also sometimes
we take it too far.
Yeah,
these
exactly.
days, and I'll tell you why we take it too far. For example, I rarely, if ever, something happens. I rarely, if ever, look at an opponent pick up another opponent. They always walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then their own players have to come over and get them. It's okay to help the other guy out.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
At this moment, you're not playing. You can help him
I agree
out.
entirely.
Right? You could say something nice about the other opponent. It's okay. You don't have to do anything that's like we're gonna blow up Twitter with 78 responses. All right, great.
Sadly, that is what a lot of these younger athletes look at, and that's not the way to do it.
Okay, there may be 2,000 responses. But how many different people are responding? Normally, it's about 75 to 100. Right? Doing it multiple times.
Yep.
It's like it doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, people make something of it, and in our business, the mistake we make in our business is that we give credence to it.
Exactly.
Twitter has blown up.
Exactly.
I'm getting stories from Twitter. They cut me a break on these stories from Twitter.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
It's
if you, and that's something that, I realize it's more difficult to cover things these days because travel's being cut down by everybody.
Right.
I mean, for example, the Messenger, which just went out, and things like the Messenger. Is it called the Messenger or just Messenger? They just were knocked out of business.
Yeah.
Right. They just signed you up 2 days earlier.
I'll tell you.
As their Penn State correspondent.
That was bad luck.
Yeah. It's like, God, you seem to have a lot of that. And right before the Super Bowl, Messenger, and they had signed Seth Davis and other people. And Seth Davis left the Athletic to go to Messenger. Like, okay, among others. And the Super Bowl pulled their credentials. The NFL pulled their credentials for the Super Bowl.
Huh.
Right? Which also meant they had to pay the full rate for the hotel they were in. Oobly.
That's trouble. I have always said, like, from a fan's perspective, to people that, and I know people that have gone to the Super Bowls a couple times, the point I've made is, the one thing to understand, getting a ticket is the easiest thing you have to do.
Yeah.
By far.
Yes.
Not even close. And that's it. Yeah, you got to pay full price for a hotel. You're in trouble.
Yeah. Now, of course, you're a high roller, so
that's right.
They comp your room.
That's right.
He's back. Yay!
Las Vegas says, is that Clark Griswold? No, it's even better.
Oh, I mean, you ever see De Niro in Casino?
Yeah.
He says, they come in. It was a guy he referred to as a whale. Right. Yeah, whale in terms of money. Mm-hmm. He's a whale. He says, he'll come into the room that we comp him for, and he'll take the towels and the soap. It's like, yeah.
It's like Beverly Hills Cop 3 where they comped him the towel. I already got 3 in the bag.
At the Beverly Palms? These are the robes. The robes
that was
he
the
got.
robe.
The robes.
That was what it is. I already got 3 of them in the
Beverly
bag.
Palms. All right. That's the thing. John Ashton, who plays the older cop.
Yep.
Right.
Played Mac in Little Big League. Same guy.
Yep. Right. Went to my high school. Years before I did, but went to my high school.
Nice.
Like, great. Axel, this isn't really your uncle's house, is it? No.
I think they're making another one here pretty soon. It's another Beverly Hills Cop is making its way out.
Yeah. My goodness. So, I mean, your team now, of course, is playing in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You, of course, are sitting there and by yourself, and the bobbleheads that you pick up at everything. Just you and the bobbleheads. When the 49ers are going bad, do you throw the Joe Montana bobblehead?
No. No, no throwing the bobbleheads.
What do you throw?
Something simple that's not going to break typically. I've learned my lesson on that one.
What did you break?
Broke at least 2 lamps.
You broke 2 lamps in a 49ers game?
Yeah, that was years.
You guys aren't that good.
No, that was when they were pretty bad too. That's the worst part of it. Many years ago. Somebody actually gifted me a 49ers chain one time, and I went to throw something, and I reached down, pulled the chain, broke that. So that was another thing.
Oh,
that was hurtful. That was tough. That was tough to deal with.
brutal.
Had to replace that one. That wasn't a cheap replacement. It wasn't a gift anymore when I replaced it. But yeah, no, I could never watch the 49ers with several people. It's impossible. That's the one team. Phillies game I usually can, no problem. Sixers in the playoffs, I'm used to it.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Joel Embiid changes his name to Abracadabra.
Oh, you just the meanest guy.
That should be a motivation now when he goes back from injury.
Purdy throws a first half interception. You're going to be telling everybody, right? Everybody's George Myra.
Yeah, Purdy brought him back, helped bring him back the NFC title game though, so he was still around a little bit in the playoffs.
You're going to tell everybody he's George Myra?
Better than Rex Grossman, at least.
Who the heck is that? Oh, Grossman was theirs. Although Devin Hester got into the Hall of Fame.
He did.
Yesterday. He returned the opening kickoff in that Super Bowl
I remember that.
touchdown.
Pouring rain. Prince halftime. Best halftime of all time by far.
Do you watch halftime?
Not anymore. No.
I think the last halftime.
Not anymore.
I think the last halftime I remember watching was the Rose Bowl, and it was Michael Jackson. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Cowboys, Bills, yeah.
I think that's the last time I watched halftime.
Yeah, I don't watch them anymore.
Now, I'm in a different circumstance this year because of travel. Okay? So, but normally, I never watch the pregame show.
No, I don't either. And I don't watch anything leading up to it.
And it's not because of any other reason, and that is that I don't find it interesting. And I don't like watching things that I'm not going to learn anything from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I am not going to learn a single thing watching the pregame show. It doesn't mean that they didn't put a lot of effort in, they didn't put a lot of work in, a lot of research. I mean, I got all that. I mean, I'm not disparaging their work. It's just, but it doesn't interest me. I'd rather be watching a game. So I'll watch a game, and normally I enjoy watching the Waste Management Open from Scottsdale. Because with that stadium set up on 16, it's a wild, fun thing. And normally the tournament's a pretty good tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the first thing I usually see is the national anthem.
Yeah, I did see that. I definitely saw that last couple of years. Chris Stapleton, first of all, was phenomenal last year with that.
Yeah, I don't think too much about it. Like, just sing the thing, let's go.
Just sing it, let's go. But, when you sing it and actually sing the words and don't change it.
Right. But, okay, people have to understand how many national anthems I hear a year.
We all do.
I hear more than you do.
Yes, you do.
Okay?
Yep.
All right? Because I do road games.
Mm-hmm.
And I do baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to realize how many national anthems I hear a year.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, like, you include, like, the ones they'll throw on TV, I hear over 100.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so to me, it's like, okay, like, let's go. Okay, come on, let's go here. All right, I know this is your moment in the sun with 140 million people watching. I got it, but just like get it done. Let's get to the game, and then I'll watch the game. I don't watch anybody's pregame shows. If you were to ask me, like okay, tell me what you think of Fox NFL Sunday. I don't know.
I haven't watched. I don't watch
NFL Today. I don't know. ESPN, absolutely don't know.
I used to watch College Game Day when I had the chance. Obviously, I caught up on that.
College Game Day, I used to watch.
Same here, but yeah, I don't have time anymore. Obviously,
I rarely take the time to watch it anymore.
But that was about the only one. I don't really watch any.
I haven't watched College Basketball Game Day all season this year.
No, I haven't either.
And and it's not like they're not trying to do a good job. They're going out to locations, big games, things like that. I mean, I will guess, and it's only a guess, that they were at Duke, North Carolina Saturday.
Most likely.
Down at Chapel Hill. But that's a guess. I don't know. I didn't watch it. But I'm also busy doing games. I mean, for example, we were out of the hotel at 10 after 10 in the morning on Saturday to go over to Assembly Hall. I mean, so I don't have time to watch that stuff. I've got, with Dick Girardi or with Jack Ham, I've got my own game to call. So I don't watch that stuff that often. And it's not to disparage anybody's work, but it doesn't interest me. And it used to interest me a lot. And as time has gone, my interest has just gone by the wayside. And I don't know. It's like I said, it's like right before kickoff, I start watching. I remember one year the Waste Management Open, I think, went to a one-hole playoff or something like that. I'm still watching the thing. I want to see who wins. I still want to see the thing. All right. All right. So you don't gamble at all.
No.
Do I?
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Unless you count buying a pack of baseball cards, that's about it.
Right. So they do a thing, of course, every year. Okay. Super Bowl prop bets. The opening kickoff. Touchback?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Touchback, no return for a touchdown. Touchback, yes.
Going to be touchback.
Okay. The first score of the game will be a touchdown, a field goal, or a safety.
We're going to say a field goal.
Okay. I think twice it's been a safety, right? Obviously, the Steelers, when they beat the Vikings, a safety, and then the Broncos.
Was the Broncos Chiefs? Seahawks. That was the first play?
Broncos,
yeah,
Seahawks.
The snap, yeah. Right. Yeah, that was when Manning, they missed the snap. I do remember that, yeah.
Same thing with the snap and the Steelers. When the Steelers won their first Super Bowl against the Vikings. Yeah, Fran Tarkenton had to recover in the end zone. Let's see. Go to overtime, yes or no?
No.
Oh, you're hoping.
There's only been one gone to overtime, right?
Right, yeah. It was the Falcons and the Patriots. Total penalties accepted, over 10.5, under 10.5.
With the official calling it's going to be over 10.5, yeah.
Bill Vinovich?
Yeah, Vinovich likes to call.
Or are you going up again? Like, Terry Killens would be upset with you.
That's all right.
Terry's official.
I'm going on. I was targeting Bill, but not...
Yeah, Terry's part of the crew. Race to points odds.
I have no idea what that means.
Has no idea what that means. Team total points.
They're an over-under, or you just put a number here?
They've got over 20.5.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Over 23.5.
Yeah, I would say it's probably going to be. It's going to be.
24.5.
It's going to probably be in the 50 range.
Okay. 49ers totals. Rushing attempts 26.5.
I think if they want to win, it should be 26.5 or more. Yep.
How are you going to get a half?
Brock Purdy fumbles the snap. Christian McCaffrey picks it up. You're going to give a half there?
One. Rushing yards 135.5.
Again, same thing. It's got to be more if they're going to win.
Rushing touchdowns 1.5.
Yeah, going to be more than that.
Sacks 2.5.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'm going to say less. Not with that pass rush the way it's been.
Okay, Kansas City rushing attempts 23.5.
I don't think so. I think they can pound it with Pacheco, and I think the 49ers run defense is suspect, but I think they also can air it out.
Rushing yards 108.5.
They're going to have that, yeah. I agree.
Rushing touchdowns 0.5.
Yeah, they'll have that. Pacheco will have at least one.
Sacks 2.5.
Yes, they'll get 2.5.
Okay. Let's see. This is all in touchdown scores. Christian McCaffrey, Pacheco, Kelsey.
Yeah, McCaffrey's going to have. If the 49ers are going to score a touchdown in this game, McCaffrey will score.
Let's see. Who else do we have? These are all exotic prop bets. Color of Gatorade.
Oh, jeez.
Purple, blue, yellow, green, lime, orange, red, pink, clear,
orange.
Okay,
orange is always the old standby, right?
Coin toss.
What, heads or tails?
Who wins the coin toss?
49ers.
Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift?
Oh, jeez. You hope not, but I'm going to say no. You can't do that at the Super Bowl. Who knows, though? The NFL would love it if they did it on midfield after the game, I can tell you that.
Okay. The national anthem. It has to go with the length of it. But it doesn't say what the length here is. Halftime show, Usher. Let's see here. Let's see. Super Bowl MVP, Jair Brown.
I don't see anybody on the 49ers defense getting Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, I'm sure they'll make a big deal out of Nick Bosa.
They might, but he's not.
The pressure he got from the outside as Mahomes steps up and throws a dime. Look at the pressure as he steps. Okay, yeah, great.
Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to actually say... I'll tell you. I'm going to go with Isaiah Pacheco, believe it or not.
Isaiah Pacheco over your guy Christian McCaffrey.
Well, if the 49ers win, it's going to be, the Niners win, I feel like, man, that's going to be tough. I feel like it would probably be Purdy if the Niners win. McCaffrey's going to have more touchdowns, but I feel like the Niners win, it would be Purdy. If the Chiefs win, the obvious bet is Mahomes. So you don't want to go with the obvious. I think I'm going to go with Pacheco there.
1 in 4 Americans to gamble on the big game.
Oh, that's not a surprise.
A record 67.8 million American adults are expected to bet $23.1 billion. Both would represent records. Now, remember, there are more states than ever you can do it legally. 38 states plus D.C. Okay. A sports media scholar says that the league's embrace of gambling is so striking because for most of its history, the NFL had pushed the government for stricter regulations, not more lenient ones. True, but that was always a game. You and I both know that was a game. In 1963, just as the NFL was starting to become profitable thanks to broadcasting deals, a gambling scandal threatened the popularity. He suspended Paul Hornung and Alex Karras. Both were betting on their own teams. In 1976, CBS hired bookmaker and newspaper columnist Jimmy the Greek Snyder to join the cast of the NFL Today. They always did it in such a clever way on the board.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Millions of viewers wanted to know the betting lines for the upcoming games. The NFL's leadership, however, remained adamantly opposed to its broadcasting partners encouraging gambling. So Snyder communicated the lines by predicting the final score, thereby allowing careful listeners to learn what he thinks the point spread happens to be. I think they'll win it 31-24, so obviously he thinks that they're +7.
Man, how the times have changed, that's for sure.
Right?
Oh.
In 1992, the NFL and other major sports leagues lobbied for the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, which would have severely restricted sports gambling, allowed, anybody knows I've done the show. How many times have I talked about this? It was allowed in Nevada, Oregon, Delaware, and Montana. I said over and over and over again. Okay. Paul Tagliabue testified in favor of the bill, telling Congress, "We do not want our games to be used as bait to sell gambling." What's it now? "We have to make it clear to the athletes, the fans, and the public gambling is not part of the sport, period." The measure passed. Roger Goodell reiterated the stance in the wake of the owner's decision to allow the Raiders to relocate in Las Vegas. "We strongly oppose legalized sports gambling. The integrity of our game is number one. We will not compromise that." Now, he is correct about the integrity of the game. Right? He's right about that. Where you're like, yeah, okay. Can't have that. The Supreme Court, of course, then, this is the New Jersey case. Doesn't say that here, but the New Jersey case opened the door. In 2021, the league announced 7 companies, including BetMGM, DraftKings, Caesars, as the league's official gambling partners. 2 years later, ESPN announced the formation of ESPN Bet, sportsbook partnership with Penn Entertainment. This infusion of extra cash comes with a substantial social cost. Gambling addictions are at an all-time high. Man, I remember you used to wear button-down shirts. Now look at you.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
They say young men seem to be especially vulnerable. 10 NFL players have been suspended for gambling since 2022. Nonetheless, the league continues to promote gambling sites to the fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Gambling prohibitions for players have not substantially changed, but the environment in which they work and live has made the temptation far more difficult to avoid.
Yeah.
I mean, the slot machine in Jerry's office, really impressive. Like, okay.
And that's the thing where the money's involved, and I get it, but that's where you got to watch the fine line that you walk. And unfortunately, that's one thing they've not done. Yeah, you look at really, prime example. Oh, Jameson Williams suspended 6 games for gambling here in the pregame show, sponsored by DraftKings. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, but they have certain rules.
Yeah.
Number one,
Yeah.
Jameson Williams was not betting on the NFL.
No, he wasn't.
Number 2, I believe he was in the parking lot when he made the bet, which meant he was on the team's Wi-Fi. That's why he was suspended 6 games, because he was on their Wi-Fi and it shows up as a login on their account. Let's get to British soccer for a moment, and something Kyle and I talk about all the time, Premier League. I never hear about gambling scandals, and they've had it forever. They have kiosks in the stadiums in England and in Europe, and you don't hear about gambling scandals. You don't. I think because it's still in its infancy here, relative infancy, they're being judicious about this. I will say this, and I've made this statement before, but I want to reiterate it. The people that are in charge of it in the States know they have to be diligent about this to make it work. And to me, to this point, they have shown that diligence. So let's take the Alabama baseball coach who was fired. the bet that had everybody like, what is this, was not placed in Baton Rouge. They were playing LSU. Was not made in Baton Rouge, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, Huntsville, anywhere. Okay? Wasn't. The bet was made at Cincinnati, right? At a casino at Great America Ballpark. The Reds were on the road at Oakland at the time, so they weren't even playing. But the sports book was open. The bet was made in Cincinnati, and they figured it out and tracked it. That's diligence. Okay? The Iowa situation with Iowa and Iowa State with underage. Okay? And the fact that a couple of them evidently did bet on their team, whatever. That's diligence. Booty, who's now with the Patriots, diligence. Figuring out. And it's not a messaging problem. This is not a messaging problem. Oh, they have to do a better job of telling them. No, that's not.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, no. You just he'll tell you right away that it's not a messaging problem. What did all of them do?
Yeah.
They all used aliases, and many times their mother's maiden name. You know what that tells you? They know the rules.
They know the rules. Absolutely.
They all knew the rules. Okay? And they tried to figure out and skirt it. Now, in Booty's case, he made a lot of bets, according to the story. But this is still just a fraction of people that are involved in the sport. And it doesn't mean that the coach of any team dreads every day the phone call. Now, they always dread the 2 a.m. phone call. Nothing good happens at 2 a.m.
Right.
I mean, look at your life.
That's right.
I mean, God, every time I turn around, my phone's ringing. Jason needs you. Oh, no. It's just a question of which police station I'm going to. Right. But they dread the 2 a.m. phone call.
Right.
Like, oh, no. Right. Same thing with this. They dread every day because you cannot be around them every second. You're not a babysitter.
No, and that's
right?
Exactly right.
And this is still in its infancy. And look, I've talked to my class about this. And I've told them straight out. I said, look, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. Right. My only recommendation is never gamble on a game you're covering. Because it will then taint how you cover the game, whether you think so or not. Oh, I can still cover it fair. Really, when it's that personal? No. You can't. But I've asked them straight out. I said, look, you guys don't have to answer the question. I said, but how many of you do place bets? And I'll get 2/3 of the class putting their hands up. I mean, it's legal. It's not illegal.
Yeah.
So it's, but I still sit back and go, oh, really? I mean, you guys don't have a lot of money to begin with. Now, some of them are, some of them pay, $50, $100, whatever. But I've had a couple of them in class say, no, I put a couple $1,000s down. And I'm like, couple $1,000, cripe.
Man.
El Cheapo over here will be like, hey, I could find like something for $2,000, and it's not that. But I ask them because it gives me a gauge as to what young people are thinking. That's why I ask the question. I'm not asking the question to be nosy.
No.
I'm asking the question to get a gauge on what they're doing with their lives and what kind of influence this has over their lives. And it has a little more influence over their lives than I probably even thought myself. Because, no offense, they don't have a lot of money.
No.
Unless I'm missing something.
Unless I missed something when I was in school.
Well, based on this show, you missed a lot of classes.
Quite a few things. Yeah.
was too easy.
More than class.
Come on.
Yeah.
You got to admit that was too easy.
That was.
You didn't even catch yourself when you said it.
No, that was an easy
And
one.
normally you're like one of the sharpest guys out. Like you're like, you pick up on it right away. That's one of the rare misses by you. You missed on that one. Wow. That's all right. So time now for you to, in 49 good San Francisco seconds, give us your take, winner and final score of the Super Bowl.
I do not think the 49ers defense can hold up. That's my concern. I think you got to play 4 full quarters against the Chiefs. They've not done it in the playoffs so far. So I still get the feeling I like Kansas City to win this game. I think they win it by, I think they win it 33-21. And again, I'm going with Pacheco as the MVP because I think he gets off to a fast start in the first half.
So is this just a safeguard on your part?
No, it's the
Because the 49ers are the favorite.
they are the favorite. I don't know how. I still don't know how to this day, but
Well, there's one team's a 3 seed, the other one's a 1 seed.
yeah, the other team's played a lot better in the playoffs than the other one. But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
It's been 2 weeks between games. We'll see.
it's been 2 weeks between games.
But I think that you are keeping yourself from a big letdown.
Not heavily. I really think. I think if you.
Deep
I think
down, come on.
Who am I rooting for? There's no doubt.
You'll be throwing things.
Most likely.
Right? I mean, the only guy I know that throws a lamp at the coin toss. No!
I did not throw the lamp. The object I threw hit the lamp and broke.
Defer! What's wrong with you people?
You tie gambling together, there's people probably throwing lamps on a coin toss.
Yeah.
Some people are broke by the coin toss. They got the time of the national anthem wrong. They got what kind of jet's not going to fly over wrong. They got coin toss wrong. I can't believe.
But enough of your personal stories.
I honestly, truly cannot believe the stuff people bet on. I just can't. What? The other thing I never...
I am baffled by the whole thing.
The other thing I never understood is, and this isn't Super Bowl related, how do they have betting lines for WWE? They've openly said the outcome is predetermined. How do you... I don't get it.
I didn't even know they did.
They do.
I didn't know.
I didn't either. I was looking for the spread in the Super Bowl, and I saw literally WrestleMania 40 opening favorite in the main event. I'm like, what? Like, how do you...
Don't look at me. I mean, I'm the last person to ask.
For entertainment that specifically tells you the outcome is predetermined, I just don't understand. I'm behind on the times when it comes to betting.
Explains the T-shirt.
That's right.
Obviously had a few days that didn't go well. Well, enjoy the game.
Should be a fun one.
You know, my guess is midway through the first quarter, maybe toward the tail end of the first quarter is when I'll probably get a chance to start watching.
There you go.
Because we have to fly back. So
Yep.
yeah. I actually watched, I think it was the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. I watched that one in Chicago. So I think Penn State was playing a Monday game at Northwestern. And I watched the Raiders and the Redskins in the Tampa one.
Yep.
Where Jack Squirick picked off the Joe Theismann pass, ran it back for a touchdown. I watched that one in Boston because Penn State was playing BU the next night, a Monday night game at the Agganis Arena.
Huh.
So I've actually had to watch a couple Super Bowls on the road.
Right.
Now, have I been late for Super Bowls? It was a Super Bowl Giants and Broncos.
Yeah.
The Giants won the game.
21, yeah.
I missed the first quarter of it because Penn State had a basketball game at St. Bonaventure and had to bus back. And the Cowboys and Broncos, I missed the first half of that game. Everything else I've watched all the way through.
Yep, I've seen most of them. Actually, I've seen them all. Yeah.
You've watched every Super Bowl?
Well, no, not every one. The ones I've been alive for. The first one that I can fully remember is
I watched Super Bowl one.
No, never saw every one.
I watched Super
Broncos and the Washington football team is the one that I remember first.
That's
the 42-10
jumped out 10-0,
yep.
and then the 35 points
the second quarter
for Doug Williams.
Yep,
and
Timmy
Washington.
Smith had the game of his life.
202 yards
yep.
or some number like that.
Yep.
204 or some number.
Yep.
All right. I hear Jerry in the hallway, so if you and I can get out of here before he gets back to this room, that'd be great.